Greetings and salutations, my friends. It is Monday. That means it is time for Better Off Read, our weekly show when me and the gang get together and talk indie comics. And you might be saying, who is the gang? Probably people you know much better than myself. So let's go ahead and start bringing them in. I'm going to bring them in some different orders than usual. This time, I'm going to bring in our man who likes doing his homework during the show, Nomas. Nomas.
Hey!
Hey!
What's going on, everybody? What's
We're
happening?
going to be talking Nice House this week, huh?
Yes, sir. Nothing but Nice House, man. I've been waiting for this. I waited for you guys. I had it for like almost a week already, and I didn't read it just to make sure you guys caught up. But talking about Nice House tonight, guys.
Absolutely. Up next, let's bring in Philly Phil. Phil, what's going on?
Hola, amigos. How's everyone doing? Great to be back as always. It's nice to look forward to Mondays, you know?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Special day. And
Yes.
My brother from another mother, a man that I have been, trolling with for quite some time in comments and in all the other places, my good friend, Viking.
Yep, that's me, Viking, or Zach. Zach's cool. I respond to Zach a lot, or Z, or Big Z. All those nicknames work. Anyways,
my problem is I still respond to Phil, and having Philly Phil in here every single time somebody's like, Phil, I'm like, oh, the other Phil. It's like in high school where that somebody's waving at you, but they're not, and you're like, hey.
Yeah. Oh, not me. I'm sorry.
The other one. So thanks for making it out, J Rails. As always, we appreciate you. So thank you for already being in here for the free snacks. And this is a very special show. This was actually the first book that we really reviewed, and it was how we met Nomas, because at the same time, it was just the three of us at that moment. And Nomas is just like, guys, I love this book. I want to talk about this book too. And one episode later, we're like, sure, come on. And we haven't been able to get rid of him since.
Let's get the token Latino in here.
Hey, we need a little spice in our life.
All the feels. Yeah. Amen.
That is true. What a cool little origin that is. That's how Nomas got involved. He's like, I love this book. We're like, we do too.
It was 100% the Nice House on the Lake. This is really what brought us all together. And this was like my first indie favorite book, too. Like, this was the first time I had ever I don't know, I've never read anything this cool. So it was very neck and neck for all of us between Basilisk and Nice House on the Lake. Both went into hiatus, but one was announced at least.
Exactly.
Both had a hiatus, but we knew one was coming.
Knew what to expect that time.
So this is the Nice House on the Lake show, right? So it's going to be all Nice House on the Lake. We're going to be starting off with the first book, and we're going to go all the way through to current. And we're going to really get in depth on the current. We do want to just catch you up for little bits and pieces for the 1 through 6. However, the joy of this story is reading it, because it is there's so much minutia to every single page, right? There is details and details and details. So to unpack it totally is impossible. So what we're going to do is we're going to recap, and we're going to get to the meat and potatoes, and we're going to do the regular parts and pieces. So without further ado, I'm actually up first. Book 1, right? So I'm going to pull this one up, and let's take a look at part 1. Nice
Beautiful
House
cover
on the Lake.
Oh yeah.
Book 1.
Amazing cover.
So here we meet, and something else I would recommend highly to every single person in here. A lot of the shops had this just arrive this last week. This is the Nice House on the Lake, and it is volume 1. This is 1 through 6, and that's what makes, honestly, going back through this entire story absolutely tenable. because I don't have to get all the other books out of my boxes and try and dig them out from all the places we were collecting them before over the last 9 months. This is all right in one place, all 6 books. Most trade paperbacks only have the 1 through 5. This has the 1 through 6. Hey, HK Wifey, good to see you. Thanks for making it out. Nice house on the lake night. And so starting off, we start off with our first person in this case, and that is going to be our actual artist. So when we're getting in here, there's lots of different symbols to begin to decipher. And you can actually see up on top where you see that nice house on the lake, the different symbols that we're going through. And each book has a different corresponding ones, like the smiley face is a comedian. The percentage is for, our financial analysts, our accountant, in that case. A lot of these symbols mean things. And people were going by assigned aliases and assigned symbols to come in. What they all mean, we begin to decipher a little bit out through the first book, but we basically start off in a post-apocalypse mode of reflection. And in this case, we're speaking to our painter. Now, this painter is kind of recapping like how everything began and their first meetings with our said character that brought everyone together. While, of course, I'm saying this, I'm spacing on his name, guys.
Walter?
Walter, thank you. I totally spaced on the name Walter. So Walter brings everybody together. All these people that Walter has essentially met from his childhood through college, and these relationships that he built, he brought them all to this place for this little getaway vacation. And in the middle of this getaway vacation, where everybody's getting these nice, feel-good little reunions, all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose. Somebody logs in, checks out their social media feed, and the world is on fire. People are burning, people are melting, all this stuff's going on, family and friends just going, gone. And scene. That is the first book, right? You get this ominous letter, brings all the friends together. They get to the house. Everybody's having fun. People are getting high. People are jumping in the water. People are eating steak, having drinks. Great time. And all of a sudden, the whole world begins to melt and end. Mm-hmm. And with that, I give it to my good friend, Viking Comics.
That's me.
That's you.
That's me. I'm not telling. That was weird. I'm going to cover issue 2. So essentially, what I've noticed, at least what everyone should have noticed in the first issue, is you get a narrator at the start of it. And in the second issue, that narrator happens to be Rick, the musician. So he starts the issue off just basically recapping that, night 1, how everyone reacted after Nora's arm got all messed up and Walter had kind of revealed himself. I'm not going to go past that. And also all the news of essentially the world coming to an end and people's skin melting off their bodies. And he brings up some things about Walter that as you go along in the story start to make a little bit more sense. He talks about how Walter, a key point, like Tim talking about Walter, was how Walter just comes off is like he still feels lonely, even though he has like a ton of close friends, which is what you pick up as you do read. And then also in this issue, you start to see the transcripts. The transcripts show up. They're recorded conversations, and everyone is labeled as their profession: the artist, the musician, the doctor, things like that. And then further in the issue, there's Ryan, who seemingly thinks that they are an odd man out. She's trying to figure out how she fits into all this because all the other groups kind of intermingle and crisscross, and she's just this anomaly, essentially. Like, she's not part of any older group or a group from college or high school or grade school or whatever. So she's trying to figure that out. And at the same time, Nora and Sarah are outside having a cigarette, if you didn't smoke like I used to. And they go exploring, essentially. They're trying to just figure out what's at this cabin. So while they're exploring, Sam and the rest of the group are informed that Sam had been restless the night before, and essentially goes out to find that they are surrounded by like an invisible wall or force field. It's just keeping them in. He spent the whole night exploring, and as he was coming back to the home, the art piece out front, he touched it, and it apparently reveals horrific images of where you are from, of your home. And so they go to test it, and it's true. They touch it, and they're just seeing like people just being misshaped, by some strange force, their skin melting off their bodies and things like that. But then as they're doing that, Rick and Naya hung back after breakfast and didn't go with the rest of the group. And Rick is discussing with Naya that they need to maybe keep to the schedule that Walter had, the itinerary that he created to basically keep some sort of order and to keep sanity, essentially, really. And you only find this out at the end of the issue that Rick is being helped by Walter. You see him confront Rick earlier in the issue, and I think this is all part of Walter's plan. But also at the same time, just before that, Nora and Sarah had discovered a key in the wall of the library that leads into what I call the gun room. And as they discover that, then Walter, you see him in the background staring at Rick like everything's going according to plan, and then that's it. That's issue 2. A quick breakdown. That's it.
Boom. Boom. So with that brings us to issue 3. No mas.
Yeah. So with issue 3, I'm not gonna give you the whole story, but yeah, issue 3 is narrated by Sam, who's the reporter. It's him right there on the cover. So after picking up with issue 2, Sam is just pretty much he's frustrated. He's waking up. He's like, listen, I'm tired of all this. I don't want to be here no more. There's so much to do. Let's get out the house. And everyone's still enjoying the amenities at the house. Everyone's still like, hey, it's all right. It's a secret room. Who doesn't have, everyone's finding a little thing. They're keeping it to themselves. Vikingham mentioned the gun room. Other people are finding out. They're looking at other things. They're going outside the property and exploring. Sam is one of those folks. He goes out and he starts looking at those symbols, and he starts trying to make sense and map out the whole territory. And he's like, there's some other locations here, and he's getting real frustrated. He's like, I don't know why you guys are not as pissed off as me or not as worried at what's happening, but like I need some answers, and he's kind of really leading the charge on his own. And again, comes across multiple symbols, and it's just pretty much trying to map it out. And there's another house there. There ends up being another house there. And Sam is just pretty towards the end of issue 3. He's just like, hey, show yourself. Tell me what's happening here. Why do you have us here? And in one of the symbols, Walter does reappear, and that's kind of like how issue 3 cuts off and leads into issue 4. But yeah, Sam is the one in issue 3 where it's just really kind of fed up and starts to explore some other things around the property. And I'll throw it over to issue 4.
Issue 4, Philly Phil.
Yes, in issue 4, it picks up almost a month into their stay at the house on the lake. We get introduced, like the interlog, like Sheena just mentioned. We start off with, on the cover, David the comedian. At this point, everyone's just kind of going stir crazy in their own separate ways, kind of collectively thoughts. They're just like, what exactly is going on? What the hell? Like, why are we all here? Like, they're still trying to figure out why they can't figure out how they arrived there. Some flew in, some drove in, and everyone remembers everything leading up to their actual trip arriving at the house. It's like you're at your home, you remember that, and then the next thing you remember is being there. So at this point, everyone's just trying to enjoy themselves without, with having that burden on their minds and their souls, if you must. It's funny because a few times throughout this issue, with the comedian being like the main narrator, he's all about just getting naked and, as he likes to put it, hanging dong. He says it about 3 times throughout the issue. He wants to go on top of the balcony and jump into the pool, and he just wants to see if anyone's down to hang dong with him, which I got some humor out of that. So the comedian's doing his job just fine. So at this point, everyone's kind of established that whatever they write on this list of kind of like a grocery list, as long as they write it out in a way that makes sense, maybe not to all them, but for Walter's sense, basically they put like a wish list and they set it out, and then bam, the next day, whatever's on that list, it's like their care package. It arrives at their house. The only one that can't seem to get what she wants is our troubled girl Molly, and she's been just fighting it. She's been kind of like the most depressed one of the bunch. And we kind of come to find out in this issue that she has been asking for. She kind of starts off simple requests, and then they get very abusive with the verbiage that she uses. She wants her husband. She wants her effing husband alive. And then she resorts to she wants her not only she wants her husband, she wants her parents. And then she quits asking that. She now wants a gun and she wants some bullets. And then for about 7 days straight, she wants a sharp razor blade. Sharp razor blade, day by day by day. She's the only one that's not getting her stuff. So she finally receives her package, but it's not with her symbol. It is by request of Dave the comedian that gets the package, but he saw what she wanted. So she gets her blade. While this is going on, another character that we've already mentioned, Naya, she's planning this big, extravagant dinner for everyone to have. Well, so during this dinner, David's got this theory, and he's like, I think I'm on to what is going on, in a sense, in this world that we're now living in. And he gets the sharp razor knife from what Molly had wanted, but he had wrote it on his list, knowing that she wanted it, and he's going to prove a point. So our homie, David the comedian, goes out in front of everyone at the dinner, says, hey, I'm going to show you something, and bam, slits his own throat. Everyone's in frenzy and freaking out, and you're expecting you slit your own throat, you're going to bleed out and die. And he goes, no, Walter won't let us die. So from that, we have to learn how to live with each other. If we can't die under his watch, then we all have to learn how to live with each other and together. And that's basically how book 4 is summed up in a nutshell.
Awesome. Yeah. And you also have 5, so we're gonna let you bleed right into that.
Yes. So for I almost said for day 5. So for issue 5, it kind of picks up about 3 to 4 days after. It was day 27 in book 4, and then in book 5 it was basically starts off day 31 to 32. Now we're introduced to our cover, kind of like narrator of this book is Ronnie, and she is the scientist of the group. She's really into astrology and kind of all things out there in the outer space world. So in the narrations, how every book starts off with about a 3 to 5 page kind of like back story to when they were like kind of like all at some point knew Walter somehow, whether it be through bar, being bar buddies or being school buddies. Well, Ronnie kind of knows him from even before like the bar in like college years. It's kind of like back to like the high school years. And when there was a group of it's slipped my mind right now, what of the 3 group that was Reg, I think Norm and Ronnie was introduced in the group as well.
They were the group with a capital G.
Yes, yes. With the I was going to say with the capital G precisely. And she in this like flashback scene, it was just ended up being her and Walter that were just having a conversation, and it kind of got intense. And he was able to kind of like control her mind and make her snap a finger, forget everything that they just talked about. And she thought she just had like a momentary lapse and like kind of like a blackout snap of a finger spell. And she's like, I'm not sure what just happened. Why am I standing up? And then obviously Walter eases her into like, oh, you're fine. So he kind of controlled her mind, dating all the way back, 15, 20 years back. And then it's kind of pointed out that our guy Reggie, has Walter's always been the mastermind, the thinker, but Reggie is the one that would always help Walter and guide him to the decisions that he wanted to or thought about making. So he was kind of like the drive, the motivator for Walter. They all kind of figure out now, as you flash back to where they're at in the house in the current times, they all kind of, through conversation, figure out that maybe not every single person in the house, but a good handful of people all kind of put pieces together that they were kind of hiding stuff that they maybe didn't think sounded sane at the time when they realized, like, from day one about, like, secrets or just intuition about what was kind of going on. And they, for lack, or maybe they just didn't want to be judged by who else they were in the house with. But then flash forward a month later, now everyone's just like, oh, I knew this. And like we stated, how, like, I remember his name, Sam. Sam was the first one to discover the other house that's on the lake. And, then everyone's flipping out for him not telling. And then a few other people in the house knew other kind of little secrets that they kept to themselves too as well. So they go to this said other house. They all hop aboard their kind of like little like jet boat and trolley on over. And as they get over there, they instantly know, like, this house, it just looks like it's made of glass. At least that's how it felt texture wise to Ronnie. And so they brought their artillery. They had like their guns, their ammo, and they all just like blast away at this house. Nothing happened. So they resorted next to their next course of action, which was some explosives. So it's like everyone just, unless you were part of like the setting off these explosives, it's like cover your ass high because this is about to go up in like shambles. Nothing happened. Then all of a sudden, a character realizes, like, hey, this sculpture stone right here has my symbol. And then another character notices the same thing. So they all kind of find their sculptures that have their symbol on them. And at the same time, they all kind of like place their hands on it together to see if something might happen if they make a request while they're all at the respective symbols. And that's when they all do this. And next thing we know, Reggie pops out. They ask for a doorway. Like, they ask Walter, please show us a sign, open a door for us. Mm-hmm. Bam, this door passage opens and out pops Reggie. And he is just like, it's about time you guys like were able to, like, I've been like so manic back here. I've been waiting for you guys to do this. Like, it's been over a month, like acting like they should have been aware that like they had this problem to solve, this, this mystery on this other house that was on the lake. Then they're all just kind of like, you have got to be like effing kidding me. Like, dude, are you serious? And he like reassures them. This book 5 ends and Reggie kind of like nonchalantly just says, don't worry. There's still time for us to save this world. And that's how the book ends. And it just like,
yep.
What a cliffhanger into issue 6, which my man Nomas is going to summarize for you.
Yep. So as we swing it over to issue 6, we swing the dong to issue 6.
Hanging dong.
Reggie is our main narrator here, and so everybody's like, "Yo, what's going on? What you been up to?" And he's like, "How can we save the world?" So we go back and we're seeing, as Pretty Phil mentioned, that Reggie's always been the one that Walter has kind of like trusted and went to for advice because he loved him and cared about him all the way back in his college days. But what we come to find out is that Walter has the power to not to give too much away, but he has the power to hit you with the Men in Black thing. Look here, he has the power to hit you with that, if you get my drift. So you lose some memory there, but with Reggie, he never did that every time, So Reggie connects with the crew and he's like, all right, this is what we need to do. They're all at the house and they're like, you know what? Reggie tells them, this has always been an experiment. It's always been an experiment. He did this for a reason, but we can change this. Like, I know the plan. And in that moment where they're having that powwow on how to do things and how to change the world and save the world, guess who steps in? My man, Walter Big Bad. He's like, listen, I got you guys here because I love you. I want to save you. And what you're trying to do, you're trying to find a loophole in the system. It's not going to work. And he's like, Men in Black, bam, and it hits you with the Men in Black, and everybody just goes back to, they're still in the house, but again, it goes back to people wake up like, oh, I have a hangover. What's going on? I have, right before Reggie was about to reveal, so now everybody's waking up the next day. Everyone's waking up. Walter's there. everybody's there, you know, and it's like a different mood. But they're like, hey, we're gonna go and explore. You want to come? You know, we're gonna go see some stuff in the house and like a normal day. But kind of like everybody has remnants of what took place, but kind of like memory wiped again. So that's where we kind of like leave off. I know I gave the abridged version, but we leave off in issue 6 with everybody just kind of Walter's there, he's in there. Memories have been lost for the time. People still have some remnants of what's going on. Like, you know, you see Reggie painting and drawing something, trying to think of it, and that kind of just leads us into issue 7.
Word. So, you know, when it comes into issue 7, you know, we're going to kind of handle this a little bit as a group portion, because this was the book we all read. This is the group read, right? Yep. So the main thing on this one, Viking, why don't you lead off with the start of this?
The start of it, so essentially picks up a little bit after the end of issue 6. Everybody is essentially just acting as they were before. Everyone's civil. Everybody seems sane, but it almost seems like, I don't know if anyone else got it. I read issue 7 and immediately went, oh man, I have to read the rest of them because I totally forgot what happened.
Yep.
It's essentially a full reset. No one remembers what they had discussed and tried to game the system in issue 6. And Walter has just apparently been there the entire time. And the only person, the one thing, no mas, the end of issue 6 as well, Nora is the only one separated from the group.
Yes.
So there's this inner monologue that you get at the beginning of the book, and you're not sure who's talking. You do find out throughout it that it is Nora expressing, her anger towards what he's done. So, yeah, it's essentially just picking up where book 6 left off. But also at the same time, there's a few moments in the book where Walter kind of flexes his Men in Black power to make people just forget things, or, you know, things like that. Take stuff back. But yeah, it's essentially just everybody acting normal, and then Walter just discussing how he needs her help to get everybody prepared and things like that. So, I mean, it's just picking up where it kind of left off, I guess, in a new sense though as well, because everybody's mind wiped. So you're just kind of, they're still trying to do the thing where they're mapping it, they're discussing making new buildings somehow, and everybody's like trying to figure out a work-life balance. Like they've been there the whole time trying to do this, but you know that the night before all their minds just got erased. So yeah, it was a pretty cool issue, but it did make me have to go back, pick up the trade, and read all some issues real quick again. So I don't know how you guys felt.
No, you know, I'd have to agree. I mean, my big thing is like looking at it, going through all the books, and thinking about the characters that we have here and that are involved. Obviously, we know we've got 12 books. We're on 7. It's based on 10 characters. We have an additional artist, painter now, right? So we let off with the artist, but now we've gained a painter. And I don't believe that was one of the symbols that we had. So I still feel like there's a tale untold on our 10 symbols on the cover, right?
Yep.
Well, actually, no.
Or was it 9 in the 10th?
I thought he was the architect.
Maybe he was the architect. I thought he was painting. I just remember seeing a picture of him painting.
Towards the end of the issue, he is painting.
But he did make the house. That's right. He did.
I know. Wait, can't remember which issue that. He is painting at one point, but Walter asks him to do the floor layout to essentially try to request a new building.
So Reggie's the painter. Yeah.
They're like, well, Reg, we want you to design this building. So he essentially is in charge of that. And him and Walter have a really good conversation that kind of ties back to my recap of issue 2, where Reg goes, hey man, what's going on with Ryan? She's the only one that knows only you, and you won't give her the time of day. And Walter does not appreciate that. So he essentially just mind wipes Reg right there, tells him to, forget what you just asked.
Yeah, Reg isn't on the cast of characters.
Yeah,
no, he's not.
This oh yeah, that's true. Well, this issue as well too, Molly, who was real heartbroken in issue 2 about her husband Cam, who was not invited to the house. Yep. Only she was, seemingly has just like totally forgotten about Cam. Like she's just like kind of happy and like she's spending time with Walter. Like doesn't even seem to care that her husband is probably melted into a pile of flesh and bone.
Well, she was trying to commit suicide earlier in the book,
yeah.
right? And she couldn't. So it seems like she just had to. I don't know. I don't know. But he wiped so many different things. To me, I feel like he wiped her back to that place of just like, and you're okay with this. Oh, okay.
Potentially. But I mean, if you think about it though, like Reg slipped through the crack a little bit. He noticed something was up and asked, and it caused Walter to mind wipe. It was with feelings like that. It's like if your significant, your partner was dead deep down, you know, in the back, your subconscious, there's gonna be that feeling that something's wrong. And the fact that she has just not like had that feeling, I feel like Walter's maybe gone overboard with her and just on a complete wipe. I don't know, but she doesn't seem broken up or anything about it. It's weird.
Yeah, it does get a little muddled at this point, right? So I feel like it's I don't know, the hiatus coming back. Obviously, there's been lots of time to think, or in cases too, when you pick it up, lots of time to forget.
Yeah,
right. So that is a legitimate thing, right? We should all point that out. There's been plenty of time to be like, oh snap, what happened again? I can't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, this has been one heck of an interesting tear. I don't know. I feel like we're getting now to understand more so Walter. I feel like Walter is beginning to kind of come out as some kind of almost like sentient alien AI of sorts that was created by said creatures to define and pigeonhole humanity into certain kinds of archetypes, right? Hence the symbols, hence the code words, right? Because that's what his scientific classification was. You know, when you've got your accountant plus your artists equals, you know, whatever that next generation may be, or everybody's kind of coupled off. Everybody but one character who's kind of coupled off to Walter, that budding romance concept. This other person coming back, giving that balance of the 2 + 2 + 2 + 2 + 2 gives us the ability to take humanity on into the future. Everybody's got these different skill sets, different things that humanity has brought forth. It's a very scientific approach, in my opinion. But getting back to this this collection too, something I did really enjoy about it was the variant cover gallery.
Yeah, that was
this was super great because all of a sudden you can kind of go back and revisit a lot of those different covers you may not have had the opportunity to grab. So this was
that.
Of course, no monster has them all. Good Lord, like a freaking Pokemon.
Listen, I think there's so many.
That's my like favorite cover for some reason.
That one is
no, the other one. Yeah, that 1 in 20. That was a 1 in 25.
I got the 1 in 25. I was pretty happy I got that. I missed this one. I wanted this one. Excuse me, right here.
I have like 3 of those. I'll ship one to you.
Oh, this is a super dope looking cover to me.
It's a TFAW cover.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
My John Jang, always.
John Jang was really good.
Classic.
This is cool.
Gallagher had a killer cover for that as well. I'm not the biggest fan. I'm really not like big on like Photoshop artists that much, but Gallagher is just really, really good at what he does. Yeah,
I'm surprised that was not in here. And this one is like, I love this one by Bjorn Berens. This is what first put me onto Bjorn.
Yeah.
You can see it. Like, Bjorn just destroyed this cover.
Yeah.
You know,
Bjorn's, he's good, but I don't know. 3D renders to me just feels like they're hard. Don't get me wrong. I went to school for animation. It's hard to do that, but it's just, I don't know. To me, it doesn't appeal to me.
I love his tones. Like in all his work, like he uses those greenish tones. Like they're real nice. I love it.
Oh yeah. Well, Lomas, what did you think about issue 7?
You know what? I also feel, to be honest with you, I also feel like, I don't know if you guys felt like this or it was meant to be, but I also felt like my memory was wiped as well. I had to read it all.
You're not wrong.
Yeah,
I also felt like my memory was wiped too, that Walter hit me with it, and I had to read the whole thing, to be honest with you. So I mean, it made me like, I felt like one of the characters, to be honest with you. I was like, wait, what the hell's going on? Why is he wearing a floral shirt? I'm like, wait, gotta go back. What's going on?
It's a psyop by JT4. He mind wiped.
Yeah, yo, seriously.
He wanted a hiatus. This is the mind wipe.
Seriously,
that's the whole reason. Though, like last week when we were showing what we got, I was so excited that I got this book. I was so pumped that I got this book when I was with the guys AR Comics and Skeff's Comic Knowledge. I'm like, and I got this, and they're like, oh, cool. Didn't even know that was out yet. I was like, yeah, but I gotta reread before before I read the new book, and like thinking about just like finding all the books, cracking them all open again, which you're kind of always like, do I, don't I? And most of these are always just a trade paperback of 1 through 5. And honestly, until I was reading it, I did not know it had 6 in there because I was trying to find 6. I'm like,
no, you're right. You're right.
6 again. And all of a sudden, I'm at the back. I'm like, oh, there's more.
And this is a nice size trade, man. To be honest with you, even with 6 issues, this is a nice thick size trade. Like you get a lot of content in this, and I truly think with the next 5 issues, like we're in for a ride, because I feel like it's like a whole reset, and we're right along with the characters. And now it's like, okay, Walter's there. How can we find a loophole to not get wiped our memories? Keep finding what's going on and really get down to it. Like, I don't know, man. I feel like I'm in an episode of Lost. Like, what's going on?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm super excited by it. Again, JT4, thanks for the mind wipe, but it's good, man. Super excited.
No, absolutely. It's a tremendous series. I honestly, Fresh Princess, Something Wong, 100% great read. And the fact that you can go out right now, get the collection for less than the cover price of the first 6 books, and you can get 7 right away, you can rip through this bad boy and you can understand why this is such a great story. Because probably the best thing about this, which was what we were really into at first, was all of the minutia and details in every single one. The transcripts, the symbols, the words used at different points and places that weren't being used elsewhere. It was characters you would see in the background and just the looks they were kind of giving each other. The art, everything of this entire story is important. And to be able to put it into a straight read was wonderful. So I highly recommend. This is probably my all-time best series that I've gotten to read since we started doing this show still. And I am 100%. I would be happy to, make sure anybody knows to read this book because it is great. 100%.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, for sure. Phil, what were your thoughts? Like, how did this hit you coming back?
I think it's probably better off, honestly, if we weren't like committed, like, so if this show wasn't a thing, I would let it be just a straight trade read. Some stories, some series, it's like, it sucks waiting like for like a month to like 5 weeks for like the next issue, hence like how we all said, like we all had to kind of like go back to issue 1 and kind of like reread, get caught up. Like this is like a good, like for those that like how Fresh Princess and Something Wong, like definitely get the trade. You can obviously seek out the individual issues by all means, but this is definitely would be an awesome like wait for the trade kind of thing, and then just knock it all out, and then just be like, wow, like because this story is so damn good, so much detail. Last week I think it was Zach covered Step by Bloody Step. and that was obviously no words. Where like with the art and the panels in this book, it's almost like some stuff you don't even like need the word bubbles. You can just like see the characters' like facial expression and like the emotion, and they're already kind of piecing your mind like what they're kind of thinking or like what is about to be said in those word bubbles.
Yeah, Williams' artwork does a really good job of capturing that.
For sure.
Yeah.
It is like this is a can't miss like series, whether you do it issue by issue or you wait and just grab both trades. However you want to go about it. Obviously everyone is different with like the reading styles in which they prefer. You can't go wrong either way. I just know that it's like one of those series where it's like I'm ready for issue 8 in 2 days, and then I want issue 9 the following week, kind of thing.
Yeah.
If you get so much content in each issue, it's like you don't get gypped. You don't like feel like, well, that was like these are definitely like the 15+ minute reads per book, if not more. And then you can always backtrack, and like they always have like these fine pages of like who was taking notes that day, and like I'll revert back to like what I stated in issues 4 and 5 with like the grocery, like their want list, like what they want, and like I want a carton of Camel Crush menthols. I want a pack of bagels. Little things like that, and then like not that it makes sense, but like it just gives each character like I don't know. It's like not like a real feel, but just like JT4 is just so on point with this book. It's so damn good. I could go on and just be a big old run-on sentence like I normally am, but I'll leave it at that.
Listen,
I'll leave it at that.
I'm gonna be super upset. Like I can't even talk right now, but I'm gonna be super upset when this is over.
Yeah.
No, you're not. It's going to be on HBO Max in the next 2 years, probably.
I hope
so,
for sure. I'm like, really? 5 issues left? I'm like, oh, come on, man.
It's going to be a great miniseries on HBO. Like,
no, it is for real. It is. And listen, if you guys, I'm looking forward to MegaCon because everybody in this book is going to be there. Bueno, Tynion, Simmons, Deladere, everybody. It's going to be a great opportunity to get triple, quadruple sings.
Oh yeah, that's who that 1 in 25 was by Simmons. Yes, that's who I think. I said Deladere, but it was the Simmons. Yes.
Yeah.
Such an awesome team that's cut like whether they're involved in every issue or if they've just done a few like variant like they. This is like I don't know.
Team, man.
Yeah, this is like the bar is set very high with this creative team and just everything about it. It's so damn good.
It's a great book. There's lots of great books out there. Speaking of
like what books are we looking forward to now next week? Right?
Yeah.
So let's maybe kind of visit a little bit of that. Let me
this is actually
these are mine. So I'm going to hop into the big screen.
There you go.
And walk through my picks. Number 1, AWA hit Upshot Guy hit me. It had a great preview at the end of Out, number 5. So I just got done reading that the other week. This is starting off as pretty much a woman that is paid to take a beating, right, in different kinky scenarios. This is a story about her and her bodyguard. This is kind of what got me into AWA, right? It wasn't about superheroes and capes. There wasn't the traditional comic book like antagonist. This is just a story. This isn't supernatural right now. Not that I could tell, at least in the preview. This is just a story, and it's a great story. So I'm really interested to see where this is going to go. So Hit Me is my first pick. Up next, We Live. Now, obviously, there's 2 different covers coming out. We've got the dark and the white cover. We Live was a great series. I'm very interested to see where this is going to go. Honestly, I'm living straight off the We Live hype. Right on this. I don't know entirely what to expect from it. I'm not trying to expect anything particular. Aftershock's been doing great with this series. I love the other books tremendously. So to me, this was just kind of a no-brainer. I have to pick this up. Little Monsters. Now, there's been a lot of talk about this book. I have heard a ton of people talking about this book, to be honest. And what they've been saying, honestly, is that just this is going to be, I don't want to say a can't miss, but it's going to be a very interesting debut. I don't know a lot of the details on it. I'm just going strictly by FOMO and word of mouth on this pick. So 100%, this was me seeing this on everybody else's list. I'm like, oh, I'm going to have to figure out a little bit more on that. I'm going to put that one in my top 5. So Little Monsters, Little FOMO. Radiant Red. Honestly, there's not a Radiant book that I'm not picking up right now. Honestly, I enjoyed Radiant Black. I did let it slip to my I don't have time to read to catch up list until all the just last week. I know. I'm the freaking worst.
You need to get it. You need to put it in your brain.
Just until our team up and last week, and then it was on like Donkey Kong, getting entirely wrapped up again in this universe. And so Radiant Red Image Comics is in and on my list with this one. I have to read it. I have to keep up with what's going. And again, AWA Upshot guy, Primos. First one was amazing. And here we are with book 2. Guys, this has been a really great series. I would highly, again, recommend AWA Upshot if you are interested in stories that have not been told and that are not traditional to the comic book archetypes that we see everywhere. This is a great story. So on that.
Speaking of Primos, is that not going to a second printing?
I believe it's going to a Spanish printing, isn't it?
Yeah, there is a Spanish printing.
Yeah, everything. Second printing and the Spanish edition of
that's super
2.
Awesome. That's sweet.
First time I've ever heard of AWA doing that, I think.
Same here. That's awesome.
Yeah, I heard the writing is, needless to say, primo. You know what I'm saying? That's terrible.
Fun.
Yeah. Nomas, you're on deck, man. You're up.
All right.
You are up there.
Definitely picking up We Live. Super excited to see what the Miranda brothers are doing now this time around. Plenty exclusives on their way for We Live. So definitely will be picking up. I didn't put out an exclusive for it. Mine fell through though, but I didn't put it out. But I do have some other ones. But definitely picking up We Live. Again, Radiant Red, man. If you guys are not on Rogue Sun, Supermassive, Radiant Black, picking up everything from this universe that's dropping. So Radiant Red, I will be there getting that one. Again, we just finished talking about Primos. Primos is awesome. Looking forward to that Spanish edition that comes. Well, I'll have that tomorrow, along with the second printing and issue 2. So super excited for that. This book is just super dope, man. Like the way it's written is just like a film, man. So I mean, prayers to AWA. Hopefully this property gets picked up. I could definitely see it being a series or even just a motion picture film. But
that other one's picked up.
Picking that up. Little Monsters. Dustin Nugent, picking this up for sure, man. I think this is going to be great. This is going to be awesome. There is, I believe, if I'm correct, actually, no. There's only 3 covers, right? I think there's an A, B, and C on this.
Cover B's by Lemire.
Yes. Is there an incentive? There's no incentive, right? Is there like a 1 in 10 for this?
There's the C. Cover C's are usually the 1 in 10s, but that's a Doug Monkey one.
Okay. Yeah, definitely picking up Little Monsters. Super excited for that. I love the story, love the premise. That it's going to be an automatic hit. And then here we are, New Masters. If you guys have not read New Masters #1, pick it up. Beautiful, beautiful written story. Artwork is amazing. Cannot wait for issue 2. Super excited for issue 2. And just look at that cover, man. Like it just I'm excited. The story was a breath of fresh air, and just super excited to just read issue 2 tomorrow or Wednesday. Sorry.
Nice.
And that's it. That's it for me.
Philly Phil, what do you got?
Yes.
Show me what you got.
I got a good list here. Monkey Meat issue 3. I am all in with this. This is such a cool ass series. It's so different than basically anything else that's out right now. It's like their take on the anthology of this island of Monkey Island and everything that goes on there. And it's so Junie Ba is just killing it. It's so like ironic of how they are kind of like what's going on in this universe of this Monkey Meat comic that's kind of like relative to what's going on in our world currently and that what has been going on. It's the art is so cool. It's such a rare, just kind of it's in its own league to me. I'm a big fan of it. I've loved it since issue 1. Issue 2 was super sweet. So I am very excited for Monkey Meat issue 3. New Masters, like Nomash just said, the first issue was just a beautiful book. I know when we reviewed it, Zach and I were talking about just like in the interior art, just like the subtleties of like the background, like that's not focused on like the main characters and the story of what's going on. It gave you like the Animal Kingdom, kind of like Lion King / Aladdin, like vibes of like what's going on in the background without being like overpowering, like taking away from the main story. This obviously it's only issue 1 in, so issue 2 we'll get more introductions to our. There's multiple characters that we were introduced to in the first issue, so very excited. This is another good team. This is the Shobo and Shaw on this, so this is definitely a. I would say it's a must read after issue 1. Definitely add this to your list. You cannot go wrong. King of Spies. I believe this is the 4th and final issue of this quick little mini series by Mark Millar. Issue 1, 2, and 3 action packed. There's no. It's pedal to the metal. It's super good. If you are into this kind of like Mark Millar's universe, then this is up there with. I think it's up there with one of the probably my favorite. I'm not really all exposed to Mark Millar's work, but the stuff I have read in his like kind of own universe is all good. But this has been a very fun read, like badass. It's like old man James Bond kind of vibes, but even a little bit more high octane in that, I would say. So definitely looking forward to this. Hit me. AWA has like Phil and like we all come in agreement. Like AWA is almost kind of like can't miss with whatever series they're putting out. Definitely looking forward to this. Phil gave a kind of like a preview description of what this is about. Sometimes I know that we all are victims of just cover buys. I think it's a super rad cover. It just looks really cool, and so I'm very interested to see how this is going to go for an issue 1, no doubt.
Is that a last?
That is a Jeff DeCall cover, yes.
Yes, yes, yep. And then, needless to say, my most anticipated issue probably of number 1s this week, none other than Jeff Lemire's Little Monsters. Him and Dustin Nguyen have put together some good stories throughout the years together, so I do not see this very anticipated. I know it's like Phil reiterated, it's on a lot of people's speculation and like can't miss, don't worry, like there's no FOMO needed. Just know that it's Jeff Lemire and it will deliver. That's all you need to know.
That's what she said.
That's very true. That is very true. Very, very true.
Oh, goodness.
If there's one person that loves Jeff Lemire, it's Philly Phil.
Oh, yeah.
So, yes.
I'm a fanboy. I will admit I'm a fanboy.
Lemire. I think I'm using that right. He stands Jeff Lemire.
Lemire.
I just sound.
I'm a simp. I'm a simp for Jeff Lemire, right?
I don't even know Lemire too.
Yeah, and like thanks to Zach, big time for introducing and reiterating to us to get into the Kyle Higgins Radiant Black universe, because although Radiant Red wasn't on my top 5, I'm definitely getting it, and I think that what a super cool ass universe it's becoming. And like after Supermassive, and then Rogue Sun was like. It's can't miss stuff. Like indie comics are in such a damn good place, and they have been for a while now. It's awesome.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. I think another honorable mention, Last Flight Out, comes out.
Yes,
5, right?
Conclusion? Is this the end?
Is it 6 or 5? I think it's 5.
I think it's 5. I believe.
Maybe.
Is this the end? Is this the
no?
end?
I think it's a 6 part. I believe.
Okay. It's a 6 part, but this is issue 5.
We sound like we didn't do our homework for this one.
I know, right? Oh, I said it was honorable mention. I didn't say it was top 5.
This issue 5 or issue 6? Is this the last one?
No.
Well,
that's been a good one too.
Off the top of our head, that's pretty good.
No, and just real quick with Primos too, that's super awesome that it's going into a second print and also being printed in Spanish as well, because that first issue, super fucking cool. Pardon my French. Sorry.
55
yeah, I know.
You can cuss.
Okay,
It's
cool.
all right. We made it past the first 15 minutes. I don't think the
All right.
yet.
But yeah, I'm very excited for that too because that was a really, really cool first issue. Very cool.
Agreed.
Very nice.
Agreed. 100%.
AWA Upshot. Go figure.
I think it's I'm the last one to go for some top 5 action. Who wants to know what
now?
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
Let's get our guy back here. Let's get him going, and let's see what we've got here for.
I talk a lot.
Viking.
It's all good. You ramble on, baby. That's fine. We Live.
Man.
I'm picking up both. We Live. This is the black and the white cover. Miranda Brothers. Honestly, one of the most surprising pair of creators to come out of the last couple of years. Phenomenal book. If you're not reading We Live, first trade is out. Pick it up. It'll blow your socks off. It's awesome. It's colorful. It has its own soundtrack. I'm not even joking. There's QR codes you can scan inside the books. You can play the music while you read that issue. It's amazing.
And it has a hardcover.
Super hyped for it. I even got some exclusives because I'm a nerd. I cannot get the exclusives, or at least a cool one. Red. I'm obsessed with this universe mainly because it happens so close to my home. It happens in Chicagoland. So Radiant Red's gonna be great. This is a whole new creative team. If you're into cool covers, the ratio cover, the 1-in-25 is pretty cool looking. But this is a whole new creative team. It's I believe a 5-issue miniseries, I think 5 or 6. But yeah, it's gonna be great. It's gonna go more into Radiant Red, who they've given besides Marshall and Nathan. She has gotten more backstory than most of the other characters as well. So it's going to be an interesting read, and I'm very excited. This book, speaking of dynamic pairs of creators, Shobo and Shaw have just blew my mind with this book. It's colorful, it's creative, it's just very nice to look at, and everything is very, very well written as well. And you get this like beautiful Afrofuturism of like what West Africa would look like if it became essentially like an intergalactic alien hub for trade. And it's really, really cool. And it's about, I know there's going to be societal structures in this because New Masters essentially is referring to, I wouldn't say like they're alien overlords of that area, but they're I guess the higher ups within their, societal structure. But I'm really looking forward to the second issue because I'm blown away by everything that they've done so far in this book. And, with the end of the first book, they give you a lot, like here's all this stuff that's coming up, and it's got me hooked. So I'm on board. Lemire and Nguyen. There's not much I can say. Descender, Ascender, read them both. They're a phenomenal team creatively. This book is about I think they're the last children on Earth, but they just happen to be vampires. So they don't age. They've been kids forever. And it's just kind of like talking about them and learning about them. That's the most I picked up from the synopsis, but I'm just excited mainly because I've always been on board with this team. They're just a phenomenal pairing. So and then King of Spies is going to be phenomenal. I really, really enjoy anything Millar writes. There's a few things that I haven't read by him, but I've read a lot, like Wanted, Kick-Ass, the thing that inspired Kingsman. I think it's called His Majesty's like Secret Service or something like that. It was like 6 issues as well. But if you like Mark Millar and ultra violence and really cool kind of espionage stories, and you love fast-paced artwork, Matteo Scalera's artwork is like nothing short of like a visual description of just speed. Like everything is fast in this, and it's awesome. It's a really, really cool read. And that is my top 5.
Awesome.
Nice.
So we've had lots of great books talked about for this next week. It's going to be another can't miss kind of week. In all honesty, there's going to be a lot of books. I don't normally go into the LCS a lot of times knowing it's going to hurt when I leave. This is going to be one of those weeks again, right? You just know it's going to hurt. It's like, oh. I mean, because you can't miss them. You can't wait either because these are books as well, being indies that don't last on shelves very long, right? Not unless even in any of those areas. These are things that people grab early, grab fast, and grab in their ridiculous covers of variants, like at least 2 of the 4 of us constantly do. So, that being the case, P squared up here is just not the ones doing it all the time, but cover A and we out. But yeah, no, it's going to be another great week. But I think something very interesting broke this last week.
Ooh.
For all 4 of us. I wouldn't say necessarily broke, but finally released. The Kraken.
Yes.
The Kraken was released.
Yeah.
And
it was. Yes, it was.
This movie, yo.
This motherfucker. This vampire biting bastard.
Yeah.
I want to pull the chatters because just to interject here, this is probably at the top of my list for favorite. It's very close with me. For me, it's like Batman Returns because Keaton's my Batman, but Robert Pattinson. See what I did there?
There you go.
Phenomenal. Just the whole movie itself felt like I was watching a graphic novel come to life, and that's what I've been wanting for a long time. And had this beautiful detective story. Batman's always been referred to as the world's greatest detective. Finally, he gets to solve some crime, and it's a young Batman, so he's okay at it. It's like
he's learning.
Yeah,
this was like 7, but casting Batman characters, right? This to me was that, because I grew up same time frame as you, Viking. Keaton is my Batman in so many ways. Tim Burton kind of darkness, but it wasn't the goofiness that you can kind of get sometimes with Tim Burton, where it's just so over the top. You just kind of know it's just a little bit extra. With this was that 7 noir kind of like dark vibe. Like, go ahead.
Say this though, to tie it back to Burton, there were a few shots, and you know what I'm talking about because they filmed this in the UK and my hometown of Chicago. I don't care if Gotham's a nickname for New York. Chicago is Gotham City, 100%. I don't know if you noticed, the visual artists in this took some great liberties with creating these backdrops. It was a very Burton-esque Gotham. This was probably my favorite portrayal of the city of Gotham I've ever seen. It was phenomenal. It was very cool how these visual artists just smashed all these cities together to make this new city. And it's not something that you don't see a lot. You see a lot of this city for a lot of the movie, and it's great. Yeah. Everyone needs to watch this.
It was like 7 met the Long Halloween to me. That's what it felt a lot.
Yeah,
like.
It's a Long Halloween, Batman Ego, and a little bit of Year One-ish kind of. Long Halloween and Batman Ego were definitely big inspirations for it.
For sure.
The cat.
Yeah, honestly, anybody would be trying to get a piece of the cat.
Honestly, Zoe Kravitz.
Yes.
She did great too. She really did.
She's a phenomenal actress. She killed it at Selena. So
I agree.
She is gorgeous. She's very, very pretty and very talented.
Beautiful. Gorgeous.
I was very happy with that casting. Also very happy with Dano's casting.
Paul Dano. Can we get into a little how underrated of an actor Paul is? Can we because how many people were like, who?
Between him and Colin Farrell, man, I was just like blown away. I was like,
Farrell, besides the eyes, Farrell was completely unrecognizable. Like when you look directly at his eyes, like he looks back in the car and he sees the bat, that was like, oh, that's Colin Farrell. But then the rest of it is not Colin Farrell, and it's phenomenal. Yeah. And that little
of course, and I think Andy Serkis was underutilized, but he's just amazing. He's phenomenal. Yeah. Like
he's a really talented actor. I love it.
Yeah. That cast from top to bottom, Jeffrey Wright, Gordon, like the casting was just phenomenal.
I forgot about Jeffrey Wright.
Yeah, like
oh my God. Amazing, dude. He's only a lieutenant though, and I was mad at that because I like my Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah, he's gonna be though.
Yeah. In part 2 or part 3, one of them.
Yeah. Well, they want to do a part 2. They're talking about
it. Well, they've got 4 spin-offs for HBO Max.
Well, Penguin's getting his little mini series, which should be
getting his
nice crime
Penguin, Catwoman.
They're saying the sequel is going to be based off No Man's Land and Arkham Asylum.
Oh, that's so dope.
That's what it's going to be based off of. No Man's Land. That's what the sequel's going to be. And
That's
again, I don't know if we want to get into spoilers, but I mean, like, listen, man, like,
I don't know. We heard Pattinson though talking about the owls. So
like, if
I mean,
you,
He wants to do Court of Owls, and I would love.
Yeah, they wanted. I think. I don't know. I think they're going to get to the Court of Owls. I think that's where this is.
And Hush.
No, Mas, shut up. Shh.
Yeah.
Listen, man, if you haven't seen that movie now, I'm sorry.
Sorry. You got to give him a little leeway.
It came out Thursday, literally, because that's when I saw it. So, listen, if you haven't seen that movie now, if you haven't made that a priority and have been part of that combined $355 million it made, you got to do something about that. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm sorry. you get 48 hours. You get like 48 hours for this type of film. Like, you're not gonna make it a week without hearing what happened.
No, and that's and I'm not gonna get super spoilery, but it was great. I was impressed with the casting, but I was honestly most pleased with Pattinson. I was pleased that we were that those of us that weren't completely off the rails were right. He did a good job, felt confident in it. I didn't feel that way until I saw Tenet and some of his other work, and I was just like, whoa, he can do this. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. But I can say though, Paul Dano, I had never been afraid of the Riddler in anything I have ever seen in a Batman movie. I have never feared what the Riddler may do. And I'll tell you what, that was seriously some Seven-esque, like the mouse trap. And this was some
I don't know about you guys, but I jumped out of my seat the first scene when he was in the house. I jumped.
Oh, you didn't see him.
Yeah. I was like, oh,
that was cool. No, Dano did a phenomenal job, and I'll agree with you. There was a lot of you could tell some of the torture devices were a little inspiration for like Seven or Saw or stuff like that. But like, I was watching it. My seat was right next to like this guy and his son looked like he was like 10. And the more I watched the movie, I more looked over at this kid like, I don't think this is appropriate for you.
No, it's not.
Like maybe if you're 13 or older, that makes a little bit more sense to me, but I was like, damn, this is dark, dude.
I saw some people taking their real little kids to this. I was just like, ugh.
Oh, no, 3 hours? The 3 hours? Really?
That's brutal, dude.
3 hours.
I was hurt.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's more so like the length and the darkness of it, right? It's not like it's like it gets dark at places. It's just consistently dark.
Yeah.
I counted.
I want to watch it.
There was four scenes where it was 4 scenes where it was light outside. 4 scenes.
Yes. Yeah.
It was 4 scenes.
Yeah. The directors at DC only had to turn on the lights on the set 4 times the entire film.
No, seriously. Like it was when he pulled up to the funeral, when he asked her to meet her at the sunrise on the top of the building, the cemetery they were pulling off, and that's about it.
Yeah.
There was no other daylight scenes.
Speaking of the darkness, though, Philly Phil, you've been dark in this conversation. What are your thoughts? All right, Philly Phil, everybody. Let's just come on.
If he could show you
I had
3 thumbs up, he would do it right
ever
now.
So
right. I was so like just on the pro side of this is going to be I had no doubts this was going to be awesome. And like our pre-show kind of thing we were talking, I was finally super beyond 100% right on my like pre-cognitive feeling of this was, and it was awesome. Someone asked me like after I saw it, like on a grading scale, I was like, just because I just saw it like 4 hours ago, I'm gonna give it an A- plus if that's a thing, because it's an A-, but as it's gonna sit and marinate and settle with me, I'm just gonna love it the more and more I think about it. So I mean, you guys have basically said everything, there is to really go over with it. Just because, everyone is so quick to say like, oh, you hear Robert Pattinson, it's like Twilight. It's like, all right, that was like 15 years ago. All right, where have you been? He's done, maybe because he wasn't in like the MCU or any of these like big name movies, that he's done a handful of awesome like independent indie kind of movies that he's got range. He's more than just a vampire, believe it or not. And he was phenomenal. Zoe Kravitz, she brought that, like, she obviously is a very beautiful woman, but she also had like that like attitude and that sass for Selena Kyle that was awesome.
Yeah.
Paul Dano, it's funny because when I think of him, I instantly always just remember the movie The Girl Next Door from like almost 20 years ago.
Oh
like
my goodness.
Yeah.
Clitzy, and to see like him looking back from that to his role that he just nailed as the Riddler. And then, like you said, it's Colin Farrell. Like, had I not like saw like the cast and saw this movie, never in a million years would I have guessed that was Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
Ever.
Right when
That
you
was
think
amazing.
Colin Farrell, right when you think his career is over, man, he nails a role. Like,
And then we haven't said it yet, but John Turturro, that guy is an ageless wonder, and he's an awesome actor as well. He's great.
Always.
He's amazing. He's
He is.
nobody.
Like, I just love how there was just so many. It wasn't just based on like one main villain. It was just like villains that weren't even getting along with each other, and like that were like kind of turning or like snitching, or like it was like it wasn't just good versus bad. It was also like bad against badder with the good guy kind of vengeance doing like it. It was so awesome. I'm going to go see it again at some point because I think it's a theater must-see movie. But yeah, it was awesome. I smitten like the freaking kitten.
I want to say the one character nobody's mentioned as well.
Oh, Lieutenant Gordon.
Batmobile. The new Batmobile.
Yeah.
No, the new Batmobile.
Brad.
I did
Brad.
not. I saw a Fast and the Furious car when I first saw it.
That scene, it's revealed.
Best
You
car
haven't
chase
seen the
scene
movie.
ever.
I bought the Lego. I bought the Lego Batmobile, the big one. I bought it. I was like, I need to do it.
I'm waiting for a smaller desk size like statue of it. I want that like underneath my monitors. They sell
Now,
ones. I want something like that. The Batmobile, the Lego thing looks dope, but it's like that's going to take up too much room.
another thing that I truly enjoyed, I think, added to the movie. We got to give a shout out to his name is on the tip of my tongue, but the gentleman who did the score for the film. The score carried like set every tone. Is it Michael Giacchino? Whatever is it him? Like the score, the soundtrack, like the score for the film was just so on point, and it set the tone. Like it was just great, man. It was great. Now,
Giancarlo.
Yep,
Giancarlo.
Amazing. Yeah. But the thing that I've been seeing lately since the movie release, and which I think for me, my personal opinion, I will keep it separate. I will not compare it to Dark Knight because that's what everyone's like. Dark Knight or this, and for me, Dark Knight is always a classic. But I will this movie is in its own category. This Batman is in its own category because it's everything new that we've seen from Batman. His tech, his detective skills, his problem, like his flaws is like, yeah, I'm telling you, like this stands in its own bucket, own category. Amazing.
Watching the older what's his face's trilogy? I'm blanking on the director.
Nolan.
Christopher Nolan. His trilogy. The biggest thing difference wise that I think why I lean more towards, Matt Reeves's The Batman that just came out. As like I'm favoring it. Obviously, Dark Knight's great because that performance of the Joker is amazing, but that Gotham and that Batman, just if you've seen a lot of his movies, things just look too clean. That Gotham didn't seem all that dangerous to me. It
Not
was
at all.
Showing off Chicago's like steel and glass skyline that the city is famous for, like that classic Chicago architecture, and I'm just like, when I watch the Batman, it looks like if I stepped outside of my apartment to go to get like a orange juice from the convenience store, I get stabbed on the way there. Like it just felt dangerous.
Now, Mikey, I'll pose you a question.
Yeah,
talking about Gotham's. Well, actually, to everybody, because you brought up a great point. Like this Gotham was great, but I also enjoyed Todd Phillips' Joker's Gotham.
Yeah.
that was also like a dangerous Gotham as well. Like I love that Gotham too. Like that was a dangerous Gotham as well. But you know, it's great. You're right. Like this film was so, it hits a home. It just you know, anybody could be Robert Pattinson. You know, the average Joe could have done it because he was doing nothing. But I mean, it was great.
And this was 100% the Batman, though. You know, what I do want to add is while I do like the different renditions of Bruce Wayne, I can say I never liked the Dark Knight series with Christopher Nolan because I didn't feel like I didn't like the Batman in it. I liked the Bruce Wayne. He was okay, but I didn't really like his Batman. It just it wasn't convincing to me. You know, just yeah.
It felt like Bruce was trying to be Batman rather than Bruce Wayne.
Yes.
Like, because like if you've ever watched the Justice League, there's a part where they're like, oh, no, it's not a Justice League, it's a comic book. They're all touching Diana's lasso and they all reveal each other who they are internally. And she's like, Diana at the mascara, you know, Kal-El of Krypton, and Bruce just says Batman. He just says fucking Batman. He is Batman. Bruce is the costume.
Yeah.
And this movie got it right. It got it right.
Yep.
I would agree with that. This is the best Batman. Pattinson is the best Batman. I'm always going to be a Keaton fan, but I did like Batfleck as Bruce and Batman. I think he was
Batman.
He was that dark. He was that big, thick, dark knight. You know, Mark Noir kind of like, you know, Batman of sorts in my mind. You know, Ben Affleck was the best for me until, and I can't say that Pattinson is for Bruce yet, but he is 100% the best Batman to me because that movie was just written for it. It was the best opportunity for Batman to just be Batman, which has really been overdue.
Without, you know, this was the first Batman without the Batarang, without his gun. He didn't have his gun.
Well, he had
a rendition. He had a
grapple here, but he didn't have
the grapple. That was,
he didn't have the utility belt. There was no belt. That was just
nothing.
Well, this is only year.
So was that Venom that he pumped? I think that was Venom.
Adrenaline? What was that?
I thought it was. I thought it was
Bane's Venom. I think.
I thought it was just pure adrenaline.
I think it was.
I swear it was a shade of green. Yes,
it was green. It was Venom, dude. I heard a theory that that's how we're going to get Bane in the next movie is going to be because of he actually used Venom. We're actually going to find out that was Venom, and it's the same shit that essentially Bane ends up, because you just saw him rage. Yeah. That wasn't adrenaline. That was rage. You know,
well, he was already pissed off as is. He was seeing Selena, you know,
he had took a shotgun slug right to the chest.
Yeah, but adrenaline is meant to do exactly the same thing that Venom's supposed to do. We'll have to, I guess,
but not be green.
True, maybe.
But you know what?
I don't know. You work in a hospital, I think, or near a hospital. Go ask him. I don't know.
No, it's clear. It's clear. It's clear. Adrenaline's clear.
Well, it's almost like you can diet drain that and inject
it.
Dude, his suit was layered, man. Like it had to be, because he popped it open like it was part of like his suit was,
and he put it into a dispenser, right?
His suit was Venom. Thick, just like I'm telling you,
it's not like he stuck a needle into himself. He put it in, and it was something that dispensed it through his system.
It just shows you that Batman always has a contingency plan. He always has a backup, and this was the first moment of it.
Yep.
Yeah,
it was dope, man.
I think it's Venom. So that's just me. But I
think
it
would have been cool if the vial, as it rolled off the scaffolding, it just said "Made in Santa Prisca" by Bane.
Right, or something to that effect. Yeah. Well, I mean, it was supposed to be military grade, right? Just something that the military had been using, and then he got a hold of. So, I'm interested to see where that goes. That was the big revelation to me when I saw that happen. I was like, "Oh shit, Bane!" I was like, "What the fuck?" It's like, oh. Like a real Bane.
What is that? I was like, "What is that?" Because to Phil's point, he just opened his suit up, popped the little vial, and
it went into a thing that just put it through his entire system. Just
And
I also
the asylum scene, man.
This asylum scene. Let's not bring that up because I think that might spoil for people that haven't seen it. But I will say the other thing that I think needs a shout out is the fight choreography.
For sure.
felt like every fight was really personal and really visceral and like angry. Every time he hit somebody, the sound, whoever the Foley artist was that like amped up that punch sound, it just sounded brutal, dude. Like it just sounded like a Foley artist who are, if you don't know, are artists that make sound effects for movies, like took a pound of hamburger meat and just put it on like a 2x4 and just punched it. And that was sound every time Batman hit a bad guy in the face. It was brutal.
Yeah.
You saw the outcome. You saw the results of that. That guy's face was freaking messed up, man.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad.
Oh, yeah.
Well, guys, it's been a fantastic week. More fantastic books to come. Great movies have come out. Great other ones are on the way. However, it is time to bid adieu to our friends for those that have joined us here this evening.
Yep.
So let's go. Let's do a roll call. Everybody, let us know where you can be found. We'll go underneath with Nomas first.
It can be found at Nomas Comics, 3 S's. But how about when he was off the edge of the building, the suit? He said, "Oh," and I was just like, "Yeah." I was like,
he went from Batman to Squirrel Girl.
He was like, "Oh," and he pulled it like, and the whole thing did. I was like, "Yo, this dude is crazy." This dude is crazy. But yeah, you can find me on IG, Nomas Comics, man. But go check out Batman, man. Go check it out. Stop playing.
There is no proper review. This movie is irreviewable.
Go check it out.
Oh, yeah.
Philly Phil.
The universe that Matt Reeves is creating is just. I'm so excited for it.
Oh, yeah.
You can catch me at Philly_Phil_ fancy. But just want to give shout out and love to everyone. We have a lot of repeat offenders that I like to refer to them. We really appreciate all your support and comments, and it's why we keep doing this, because this is interactive and we really appreciate it, and always sharing the love and showing up for us. Without you guys, we would not be doing this. So thanks as always. So one love.
Viking.
Yeah, there you go. You pointed the right direction that time. That's all good. He's over here somewhere. You can find me at Viking Comics on Instagram, at Viking Comics on Twitter. I'm becoming more active, a little bit more on both. Work's been busy in my regular, boring old life, but in my secret superhero life of reviewing comic books with these 3 nerds, you can find me at Viking Comics on IG and on Twitter. Just to reiterate, at Viking Comics. Viking, first I is a Y. So
very much so. And I am One True Nerd King. I am here. I'm on Instagram, on Twitter, on TikTok, on YouTube. Just now getting into Clubhouse. Look forward to hearing us and joining us there soon, and our other shows. Really just appreciate everybody making it out. It was a great movie. It was a great time. And see you guys all again, same time, same bat time, same bat channel next week. Talk to you all again soon.
How about Keanu for Batman anime?
Indie comics. Support your LCS.